So this is our Intex Excursion 5 build, and this is pretty much the way we have it set up except for the battery box and everything that goes in it. Just we're using the two blow-up seats in the front and the back, and then one of the stadium seats that you can get off Amazon for a lot of places. So the top is just a 6x10 white tarp, and I just used 3/4 inch Schedule 40 PVC legs stuck into the rod holders, and then 3/4 inch PVC cross pieces, and then I put T's right there, and then we have these two 3/4 inch. These are, I guess, Schedule 10. It's a thinner PVC that's a little more flexible and lighter, and that's what that is. And they just jam in to the T's. I don't have them pinned or anything because it's just tensioning the tarp basically so they don't come out. And so those are jammed in there. And then we did have a problem with the legs falling out of these T's here, so I drilled and installed a pin for each of those, so that keeps it from falling apart. And then at the top we just have a short piece and a cap, and then that's where I have the rope tied to tie it off on the front and the back. We just have carabiners here. They clip on really quickly. It's still a work in progress, but it seems to be working pretty well. And the tarp is just zip tied to the PVC. Just zip tied there and under there. And like that. It seems to work pretty well. It's not super elegant, but it gives a lot of shade. And the floor we did is just a 4-piece. I installed hinges there in the middle and on the front. I'm not sure I like the 4-piece floor. Now I did do the 1-inch PVC pipes underneath and along the bottom to help brace it, but it's still kind of pretty flexy. If I had to do over again, I think I would just do a 2-piece and have hinges at one spot in the middle. For the letters and the decal, I actually just got, let's pull the oar off. I actually just got some for sale signs at Lowe's, which was some really thin white plastic. It's white on the back, and I stuck our sticker and the letters to that, and then just zip tied that. And since it's so thin, I did have a problem with the zip ties pulling through the plastic. So what I did is I glued some nylon washers to the back of this plastic. So that sort of helps brace it up. Hopefully that won't pull through again. If you can see what that is. Okay. And then I actually made a cart. So what I like to do, and it seems to be working pretty well, is I'll assemble the boat completely, put everything in it, and then have it on this cart, and then can take it down to the water. And the cart is just 1-inch PVC back here. That's all that framework is made of, 1-inch PVC. Has a 1/2-inch steel rod for the axle, and then those are 10-inch solid rubber wheels from Harbor Freight. And here, I'll pull the boat off it so you can see it a little better. Okay, so here's the cart that it was sitting on. There's just a framework in the back. And at first I tried to just make this part without the extensions, hoping that I could set that under the boat, balance it, and then just use basically the boat as the frame, but that didn't work very well. The boat's just too floppy. So I just cut in T's right there and there, and then installed these extensions. And I have them pinned so I can pull them apart for transport. I drilled, so there's about a 5-foot section here, and then another 5-foot section up there, and then I put elbows, and then about a 1-foot piece, and then some caps on the end so it can just sit on the ground like that. And it actually is nice. I can roll the boat out on this frame and then inflate it on the frame, so it's pretty nice that way too. And then in the axles I just drilled and put cotter pins, and then used some nylon washers there and on the inside. So it's been really working pretty well. And let me show you how these are put in. So the cart is 1 inch PVC. This is actually 1 1/4 inch PVC. And the way I did that is I took 1 inch PVC and put in the T's there, and this 1 1/4 fits right over it nicely. It doesn't have much slop. So I just have about I don't know, maybe an 8 inch piece stuck out there, and then this piece just slides over it and then pins like that, and it makes a really nice connection. And for the battery box itself, I actually had this plastic Stanley toolbox laying around the garage that I wasn't using, so I used that, and it fits these 3 batteries very nicely. It doesn't have room to put 4 in, but it fits the 3 very well. So they stick down in here. There we go, just like that. And the reason I use these 3 smaller batteries is I kind of wanted it modular so that I could take these out individually, and it's just not so much weight to have to manage, because these weigh about 25 pounds each, and they have a nice little carry handle, where the bigger batteries a lot of people are using are 60, 70 pounds, and they may have a handle, but that's just, I didn't want to have to manhandle that much weight. I know you can just put in this boat in different places. It's just really nice to have it modular if I need to take this apart to put it in and out of the boat. And then I made up a wiring harness that has 3 of the XT60s in parallel, and that just plugs to the 3 batteries. And then there's an XT90 connector, and that goes to the circuit breaker, this Minn Kota, I think it's a Minn Kota brand circuit breaker, 60 amp. And then that just runs out to another XT60 connector that connects to the trolling motor. And on the trolling motor, I cut off the stock connectors, those C looking connectors, and soldered on a XT90 connector. So it just plugs together really easily when we get in the boat. And then I got one of the little power panels off Amazon, and this just connects to in parallel to everything else. And it has, I just had to cut 3 holes into the toolbox, and it has a voltmeter, 12 volt outlet, and then also if you pull this up, it has 2 USB outlets, and it has a little digital display that tells the voltage, and it's got an on-off switch here. So very nice. It's worked really well.